He did everything right. He woke before sunrise. He worked until his body ached. He took a second job when the first was not enough. He sacrificed weekends, birthdays, holidays. He gave 10 years of his life to work. And at the end of those 10 years, he had almost nothing to show for it. No savings, no assets, no freedom. Just 2 jobs, a pile of bills, and a tiredness that sleep could not fix. This is Daniel's story. And if you have ever worked hard and still felt stuck, this story is not just about him. This story is about you. Before we continue, drop a comment below telling me where you are from and what time you are watching this. And please like and subscribe, because every week we bring you ancient wisdom that does not just inspire you, it shows you exactly what to do differently. Daniel was 24 when he got his first job at a printing company. His father had worked in a factory for 30 years and retired with almost nothing. His mother sold food at a small market stall. They were not poor in the way that makes the news. They were poor in the quiet, invisible way, where the lights stay on but there is never quite enough. Daniel made a vow at 17. I will work harder than my father. If he gave 30 years and got nothing, I will give everything and get more. It was a noble thought. It was also a trap. At the printing company, Daniel was exceptional. He arrived early. He stayed late. He got promoted. But the raise was never enough. So he took a second job at a logistics warehouse on weekends, loading trucks from 6 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. He told himself it was temporary, just until I get ahead. But ahead never came. By 31, he had been working 2 jobs for 7 years. He cooked his own food. He wore the same shoes for 2 years. He was as disciplined as a monk. And still, every month, the money came in and the money went out. By the end of each month, almost nothing remained. He was running on a treadmill, moving constantly, going nowhere. His back hurt. His eyes were strained. A doctor told him he needed rest. Rest. Daniel almost laughed. At night, lying in bed too tired to sleep, one thought kept returning. What if this is just my life forever? He was 31. His father had felt the same at 31. And 30 years later, nothing had changed. Then crisis arrived. His mother collapsed at her market stall. A heart condition, undetected. Medication, tests, monitoring. The bill was not enormous, but to Daniel, it was devastating. He sat alone in the hospital corridor, not crying, just staring at the floor. He had worked 10 years and could not cover his mother's hospital bill without panic. That night, for the first time ever, he wrote down every number: income, expenses, savings, debts. What he saw shook him. After 10 years of 2 jobs, his net worth was almost 0. He owned nothing that could earn money without him physically being there. He had been making his employers richer, not himself. He was not poor because he was lazy. He was poor because no one had ever taught him the difference between working for money and making money work for you. 3 days later, still at the hospital for his mother's follow-up, Daniel sat next to a man named Joseph. Joseph was in his early 50s. Silver gray hair, thin glasses, a dark suit, completely calm. He held an old leather-bound book with yellowed pages and no visible title. What is that book? Daniel asked. Joseph closed it carefully. It is a collection of wisdom, he said. Lessons about money that have existed for thousands of years. Most people alive today have never heard them. They talked for 2 hours. And in those 2 hours, Daniel received the education 10 years of hard work had never given him. Joseph drew a simple square on a piece of paper and divided it into 4 sections. This, he said, is how the ancient teachers of wealth saw the world. All people fall into one of 4 groups. The first group trades time for wages. If they stop showing up, the money stops. The second group works for themselves, but the trap is identical. A craftsman, a healer, a trader. If they rest, everything collapses. They earn more, but they're just as chained. He pointed to the right side. The third group owns systems. Others run them. The owner earns whether present or absent. The fourth group lets wealth itself do the work. Their accumulated resources generate returns while they sleep. Joseph looked at Daniel. Which side have you been living on for 10 years? Daniel stared at the paper. The left side. The first group. And your father? Daniel closed his eyes. The left side. For 30 years. Joseph nodded quietly. Most people never cross to the right side. Not because they cannot. Because no one ever showed them the right side existed. So what do I do? Daniel asked. I have no capital. No experience. I am already working 14 hours a day. Joseph smiled. The ancient teachers were asked this same question thousands of years ago. In one of the wealthiest cities the ancient world had ever seen, there lived a man who had started with nothing. No inheritance, no connections, no advantages. Yet he became the wealthiest man in that entire city. People came from great distances to ask him, "How did you begin?" His answer was always the same 4 words. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Daniel frowned. But all of it is mine. I earn it. Joseph shook his head. Right now, every coin you earn belongs to someone else before it belongs to you. The landlord, the food seller, the transport. By the time they have taken their share, what remains for you is dust. The ancient rule is this. Before a single coin goes to anyone else, pay yourself first. 1 part in every 10. Every time, without exception. And those saved coins do not sit idle. The ancient teacher called them soldiers. Because each coin you keep does not sleep. It goes out and works on your behalf. It earns. It multiplies. It fights for your future while you rest. Daniel said quietly, I have never paid myself first. I paid everyone else and kept whatever was left. Which was almost nothing, Joseph said. Just as the ancient teacher's friends could not understand why they stayed, poor despite their labor. Joseph continued, but saving alone is not enough. Coins sitting in a jar earn nothing. They must be sent to work. Your goal is to move from the left side to the right side. Not overnight. 1 plank at a time. First, pay yourself before anyone else. 1/10, immediately, every time income arrives. Second, list everything your money flows toward. Ask honestly, does this put money into my life, or take it out? The ancient teachers called income-producing things fields. They called draining things burdens. Most people spend their whole lives carrying burdens while neglecting fields. Third, find the smallest field you can plant with what you have saved. Not impressive, not perfect, just real. A small service that earns while you do something else. A room that generates rent. One thing that does not require your constant presence. Fourth, when your first field produces, reinvest it. Plant a second field. Then a third. Wealth compounds not because of luck, but because of discipline repeated across time. Fifth, and this is the one most people miss entirely. You must change what you believe about yourself before the money will change. A person does not rise above their own self-image. If you see yourself as a laborer, you will make labor decisions. But the moment you make your first deliberate decision to save, the moment you acquire your first small field, something shifts. You are no longer only a laborer. You are now also an owner. And that new identity grows. Over time, what you believe you are becomes what you actually are. Then Joseph said something that Daniel had never heard in his life. You are allowed to want something different. Your father measured his worth by how hard he worked. By those values, he was successful. But those values did not produce freedom. They produced exhaustion. You are allowed to choose different values. Ownership, financial wisdom, fields that work in your absence. The freedom to live, not merely survive. Daniel sat quietly. Nobody ever told me I was allowed to want something different, he said. Joseph smiled gently. That is the sentence that changed my life as well. Daniel left the hospital that evening a different person. Not because his circumstances had changed. They had not. But something fundamental had shifted inside him. And the ancient teachers knew this truth above all others. The outer world changes only after the inner world changes first. That same evening, he opened a separate account. He transferred 1/10 of his last salary before paying a single bill. He labeled it mine first. Then he listed every expense. Beside each one, he wrote one word. Field. Or burden. Almost everything was a burden. Almost nothing was producing anything. but now he could see it. And seeing it was the beginning. Over the next 6 months, he kept both jobs. But every month, 1/10 went into mind first before anything else. He sought wisdom deliberately. He read during lunch. He listened during his commute. He asked questions of people who had built things from nothing. At month 4, his savings had grown to a meaningful amount for the first time. Not a fortune, a foundation. He made his first field acquisition, a small laundry service near student housing, managed by a trusted friend. 3 machines, a rented space. Daniel received a monthly return. It was not life-changing money, but it was the first money he had ever earned while he was asleep. He called it his first soldier. 1 year after meeting Joseph, Daniel had a growing mind-first account, 1 functioning field, and reduced burdens. The weight that had sat on his chest for 10 years was lighter. 3 years later, he had 3 income streams. His primary job now negotiated upward because his confidence had grown and his desperation had disappeared. His laundry field expanded to a second location, and a small trading operation managed by a partner, requiring only 2 hours of his attention per week. He had moved his mother into better living conditions. He had cleared his debt. He had placed his first funds into a long-term growing account, his first step into the 4th group of the ancient quadrant, where wealth itself does the work.
He was not wealthy,
but he was free. Free from the terror of having nothing. Free from the quiet repetition of his father's 30 years. He thought often about what Joseph had said. You are allowed to want something different. He had wanted something different his whole life. He had simply not believed he was permitted to pursue it. Now he knew. Permission never comes from outside. It must be chosen from within. My friend, Daniel's story is yours if you allow it to be. Hard work is not the answer. Hard work inside the right system is the answer. The one rule the ancient masters never broke was this. Never work only for money. Make money work for you. Tonight, open a separate account. Name it Mine First. Transfer 1/10 of whatever you have, not next month, tonight. The habit is worth more than the amount. Tomorrow, list your expenses. Write field or burden beside each one. Be honest. What you find will be uncomfortable. That discomfort is the beginning of change. Then choose your first field. Not the most impressive one. The most realistic one. One small thing that can earn a little without requiring your constant presence. Because the person who builds 1 field can build 10. The identity shifts. The decisions shift. The results shift. You are not trapped because you lack effort. You are trapped because you were handed a map that only showed one side of the world. Tonight, you receive the full map. Will you begin tonight? Or will you wait until a crisis forces your hand, the way it forced Daniel's?
Drop a comment right now.
Tell me, what is the first field you are going to plant? Write it down and make it real. Because the moment you declare it, it stops being a wish and becomes a direction. Like this video. Share it with someone working hard and wondering why it is not adding up. They need this more than you know. Subscribe to this channel. Every week we bring you wisdom that has survived centuries because it works. Wisdom that was never meant to stay hidden. Remember the one rule the ancient masters never broke. Never work only for money. Start making money work for you.
Tonight.
1 soldier at a time.